Good morning. All right. Sorry, it took me a minute to get started this morning. I had to get my coffee. What's up, Filthy Potato? Good to see you. Nice. Been learning Go with boot.dev, I see. I like it. I like it. Got to work today? Preparing for your commute? I have no work today. I have the whole week off. Nice, nice. Well, if you had to commute, it's a pretty good commute you got. Alright, where did we leave off? Let's try to put this static site generator away. Actually, hold on. Before we do that, let me just make sure I got my latest configs. Then alright. It's a little bit too zoomed in. Where are we? So I think we were getting ready to implement something called block to block type. We have that. And we need a new test that is called test block.py. Let's go ahead and open the split. My LSP not running? Let's see, LSP health. LSP health check. Okay, what is it then? View attached buffers. Okay, LSP info's not around anymore. You can't do that. Oh, I know why. I'm an idiot. Import unit test. Def test block to block type it when given heading it should okay. Let's see. For right now, we'll just do the simplest thing. Heading equals importante. And then result will equal block to block type. This takes our heading. And then self dot assert equals heading is expected. And our expected is going to be block type. dot heading. Like that. And we'll go ahead and do WXR. And we'll say watch all Python files and run test.sh. Alright, we got a syntax error, that's to be expected. Good morning, Inspire. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Oh no, don't like that song either. That's better. Alright, so how do we test for heading? Heading is, let's just make separate methods for it. Let's do if is heading, return block type, not heading. That def is heading. Okay, so how do we do this? I guess we'll use regex, I guess, to test this. So let's import that up at the top. So import RE. Then we'll do RE dot, is there like a test dot match? Find all, purge, search. Let's see. Python regex boolean match. Okay, so let's just do match. We'll have our pattern, and then we'll pass in our block, and then we'll check does not equal none. Oh, pattern is going to be defined up here. Pass block in here. Now they define a heading. They do that. They define a heading as start with 1 to 6 hash characters followed by a space, then the heading text. So let's do regex 101. And we want to match heading Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. 5, 6, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we know the line needs to start with, right? So start with is $? No. Caret. And the remaining should be optional. So that would be a question mark. We want to say we have 6 or more, or 5 or more, right? So we'll say match optional number of times. There's X. So we will do another, which will be 0, 5 times optional. Okay, how do we say matches the character hash literally, matches the previous token 0 and 5 times as few as possible, expanding as needed. So I don't think we want as few as times. Most. So minimum is 1. Maximum of 6. But see, I don't want it to be oh, and then we also need to enforce a space, don't we? So white space is S. One time. There we go. Okay, let's try that. Alright, why are you still angry? Type bool is not assignable to return type block. Oh, yeah. That should not be blocked. This should be bool. Okay, we're passing. Look at that. Okay. So let's see, Python data-driven test. am I using to run my tests? Just using unit tests. So unit Python unit test data driven. Okay, so this is the built-in way using unit tests. So what we'll do is we'll say case equals and then we'll say an input input. Or actually, I'm gonna call it, or yeah, let's call that input, and then let's call this expected. And we'll say this is block type dot heading, and input will be this importante. Why are you complaining here? Okay, and then we'll say cases, and then we'll do for case in cases with self.subTest, and then inputs will be equal to case inputs. Self.assert equal results equals block to block type, passing case input this, and then we'll assert just like we're doing below. Assert result is case expected, like that. And then we'll just add some more. We'll just add some more test cases. So now we'll make sure multiple levels of headings return what we'd expect. That's 3, that should be 3, that should be 4, that should be 5, and this should be 6. Okay, cool. What's up, Nick Demon? It is a very good morning. Good morning, all. It is a good morning. We woke up, so half the work's done. Hello, Amani, and sorry I didn't see your message till just now. Hope you're doing well, friend. Alright, I'm actually going to just make this now. What are we moving on to now? So we did heading. Now we need to do multi-line code blocks. Multi-line code blocks must start with 3 backticks and a new line, then end with 3 backticks. Okay. So let's go copy this guy. When given code should return So let's say we have this code block, 3 backticks, new line, console.log, hello world. And then it said it should just end in 3 backticks, but I think it actually needs to end in a new line in a backtick, right? Because if we had our own markdown file, like let's just do test, or actually let's go to the readme. So if we had our own like test Tolkien. What is this music? And then we did this, right? So we did hello. Technically, you need a new line at the end here and here. So I think it should match for this. So let's do, go back over here to block. We'll do if is code block, return code, find kind of a similar method signature is code. I'm actually going to define a couple. Def has pattern. So we'll take in the pattern, stir, take in the text match as stir or block. We'll return a bool, and we'll return re match pattern block. Does not equal done. And then here we'll just say return as pattern, pass in our pattern in our block. Same thing here. So is code block. So what's our pattern need to be for this? I don't know. Let's go ahead and go to back to regex 101. Let's put some new matching stuff in here. So we'll do that. Console.log here. Okay, so we know it needs to start with now the question is, I'm guessing the string that we get is going to be an isolated thing, right? They're not going to give us a mixed, or I'm hoping. So let's just make that the assumption. So we got to start with 3 backticks, followed by a new line. And then we can have, I guess, 0. We can have anything 0 or more times, followed by a new line, and then backticks. And it probably should end that way, right? So what's that, $sign? Yeah. So let's try that. Says code block does not equal heading. So why is it matching here? Right? Shouldn't match here. Line 30. Huh. Oh, that's why. Oops. There we go. Now we're back in business. I guess let's just add a couple other things. Let's go, what if we have console log this? Maybe we have a function that takes in a num and has a new line. And then maybe this has a tab that says return num, then another new line. What would this look like if we were actually so let's do function num. Okay, so that we're missing something there in our so we're not matching white space, right? So regex match anything including white space. So we actually want this. We want double S, double S. Yeah. There we go. That's what we want. Now we're back in business. Okay, so we did code block. Now we had to do heading, multi-line code block. Every line in a quote block must start with a character followed by a quote text. I almost wonder actually if it would have been easier to not use regex for the code block. We could have probably actually done, does the first line equal this? And does the last line equal this? Although this won't match, I just thought of a test case this won't work with. So if we do that, and then we have some sort of text, let's say like we want to add language modifier here, that's not going to match. So we actually want optional, let's see if I do JavaScript, right? So what we actually, or not that, down here, if I do JavaScript. So we actually want some optionality here. So really we can match anything here, 0 or once. Dude, regex is such like witchcraft. It just feels like absolute witchcraft. There we go. If we got like some type script or something like that. Should still work. Okay. So what are we checking? We're checking now to see if something is equal to a quote. So I think this one's a little bit different. I think what we'll do now is we say this. So say our input is this is, and then a new line, a quote, new line about stuff. And this is going to be a quote. And this is going to be called when given quote, you should return quote. Okay, so now what we need to do is we actually need to have a little bit different call here where we say is quote. I'm just going to just do is code. Which takes our block, which is a string. It'll return a bool. And then our default case is going to be return true. And then I think what we need to do is we need to split this. So we'll say lines equals stir dot split. Split out lines. Let's import OS so we can use the correct separator. I wonder if we should be doing that here too, actually, now that I think about that. Let's see, Python regex with interpolation. So RF, okay, so RF. So here, instead of just doing a hard-coded new line, we should probably use os.lineset so that we can handle okay, that's still gonna fail. So then what we'll do is we'll say split on OS line separator. And then we're gonna need to say for line in lines if has pattern if has pattern, we'll pass in the pattern we want. I'm actually going to declare the pattern up here. Pattern equals what? Basically our pattern equals, it starts with this little literal character. Literal character. And then it can optionally have 1, 0, or 1 spaces. Right? Every line has to have 0 or 1 spaces. A space after this is allowed, but not required. So I think we could just check if it starts with this. So let's just do that. So as long as it starts with this, then it's good. So if line, or oops, pattern, line, then we need to return false, or if this is not true, then we need to pass in What's failing? Who's failing? Oh, we need to actually use it. If is quote return block type dot quote. Now everybody's passing. So let's give it a couple extra, 1 or 2 extra inputs. So let's say this has that guy. This should still work. Let's say we're just dealing with a single line. That should work. Okay, that doesn't work. So why doesn't that work? If line equals this, just return. Or no, continue, sorry. Continue. Let's do where we just have a single That's great. I think you can R dot for that. Yeah, but I don't even think we care about I don't even think we care, right? Because they said space after is allowed but not required. Right? But good morning, Kirk. Good to see you. Hello, Nick Demon. Okay, so we've got that working. Every line in an unordered list block must start with a dash character followed by a space. Okay, every line in an ordered list block must start with a number followed by a period, character, and a space. The number must start at 1 and increment by 1 for each line. Oh, that seems a little difficult. Well, I guess we can just match against the index, right? So if none of the above conditions are met, the block is a normal paragraph. So every line in an unordered list. Okay. So let's do is unordered. Def is unordered block stir return bool. Let's see. So this is going to be the same type of scenario. But now it's going to be starts with, and then we want to match exactly one space. So what's white? What's space? Regex match white space. \s. Should start with this \s. And then I'm going to actually say if def has, what would be a good name for this method? I'm just going to call it if each line has pattern. It's not really typically how you would name a method like this, but I'm just going to, it reads fairly okay, so I'm just going to go with it. So we don't need pattern anymore. It's going to be passed in. So we could remove, I think we can do this. Oh, we need to pass in the block. What? We can do the same thing here. We just need to say this is unordered, return unordered. Okay, so let's just start with a single case. We'll say this is unordered, and we'll say item 1, item 2, item 3. I don't know why I put that in the middle there. Okay, someone's failing. Okay, so it fell through. Let's take this to regex 101. That's not what I want. Item 1, item 2, item 3. So we want to match anything that starts with a hyphen and followed by white space. Oh, do I need to escape hyphens? Oh, there we go. So why is that not matching? Question mark? That is what I have, right? I guess let's just print out print line does not match. Oh, I'm not even calling the function. I'm an idiot. If is unordered block, then return block type dot unordered list. There we go. And then the last one is, I think, the trickiest of all of them that we've had so far. So if is ordered, which we haven't defined yet. Then we can jump down here and we can say def is ordered. Now, the tricky thing here, excuse me, is that we actually want to know what number the lines are, because basically there's a couple different edge cases here that I'm not addressing. Like there is some edge cases where if you have two new lines in the list, well, you can't have two. You shouldn't be able to have two new lines in the list, I'm guessing, because we're splitting on empty new lines. So basically, the thing we need to do here is we need to be able to include the index in our numbering, in our pattern. So I'm kind of thinking we should modify um, the signature of this to be a callable that takes in a string or takes in an integer or number. How do you type that? Integer int, and then it returns a string, and we'll call this pattern builder. And then what we'll do is we'll call that up here and say, oh, we actually need it down here. So we'll say pattern equals pattern builder, and we'll pass in the current index, and then we'll use the pattern. So here what we'll do is we'll say we want I in range over length of lines. Oh, I didn't close it. And this will be lines and I. Actually, let's just do, this will save us some type refactor. So we'll say line equals lines at I, like that. And then we just have to update this so that this is a lambda that takes an, which we don't really have to use. How do we declare a lambda? I just asked this yesterday. Lambda it's arguments hyphen. Okay, so arguments, which is going to be, we're not going to use it. No, I'm in the wrong place. So it would be lambda. We're not using this, we're just returning pattern. But here we actually are going to use it to build our pattern. So this will be lambda I, and then our pattern is actually going to be a raw interpolated string where each line needs to start with I plus 1. So if we're on the 0th line, the number needs to be 1. And then we need to have a period and then a white space. Oh crap, that was the wrong. Oopsies. That should be this. So let's back up. That should be here. And this should just return pattern. Yes. All right, now we need to actually build the ordered list test. So let's do that. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, moment of truth. It doesn't work. Hey, what's up, Caffeinated Minds? Hello, Bradley. Nice to see you guys. Good morning, Cyberlanka. Yes, we are Pythoning. I am doing well, Kirk. Yeah, no complaints, man. I'm just slowly trying to make my way through all this boot.dev stuff. Oh, whoops. My search is wrong. Nice. It worked. And then the only thing that we should have after this is paragraphs. So let's go ahead and do that. This should be expected. Paragraph when given paragraph, it should return paragraph. This is a paragraph. Paragraph about nothing. I think we finished it. That was a kind of a long lesson. Okay, let's go ahead and submit. Shift to. Hello, the woodchucker. How you guys doing? All right. Also, we need our chest. I'm sure there's bugs in my code, but this is good enough. I'm going to give you quite a few steps to do with a bit less guidance. I think you're a beautiful peacock, and I'm ready for it. I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly, man. Okay. Create a new function called Markdown to HTML node that converts a full Markdown document into a single HTML node. That one parent HTML node should obviously contain many child HTML node objects representing the nested elements. FYI, I created an additional 8 helper functions to keep my code neat and easy to understand, but there's a lot of logic necessary for Markdown to HTML node. I don't want to give you my exact functions because I want you to do this from scratch. However, I'll give you the basic order of operations. Oh, I was curious. Block to block. I was curious how he implemented this. Oh, so he didn't use regex at all. Which is what I was thinking would probably be the best way, but... So he actually split it into lines to start with. I kind of like it. I kind of like his implementation better than mine. I don't know. We'll see how mine goes. Okay, so determine the loop over each block. Determine the type of block. You already have a function for this. Based on the type of block, create a new HTML node with the proper data. Assign the proper child HTML objects to the block node. I created a shared text to children function that works for all block types. It takes a string of text and returns a list of HTML nodes that represent the inline Markdown using previously created functions. Think text node to HTML node. The code block is a bit of a special case. It should not do any inline markdown parsing of its children. I didn't use my text to children function for this block type. I manually made a text node and used text node to HTML node. Move all the code blocks. Make all the block node's children under a single parent HTML node, which should just be a div, and return it. Create unit tests. Here are 2 to get you started. Okay. Run and submit the CLI test from the root of the project. So we have our markdown. We have our blocks. Okay, so I guess, so this is where we're actually going to switch on the type and actually come up with the, okay. Okay, I think I can do this. I've sort of reached that part in the project or in the course where it's like, I know I can write the code, but it's like I don't really understand the point of the code, or I don't understand the point of writing the code because uh, this is a project that's just to complete this course. You know, I don't know if you guys ever experienced that when you're doing stuff like this. God, I still have a ways to go. Okay, let's do this. Where do I want to put this at? Markdown to HTML node. I guess I'll put this in the HTML node file. Seems reasonable. Actually, hold on. Does that seem reasonable? I don't know. Maybe I'll put it in this. Maybe I'll just put it in the split. I don't know. Where do I want to put it? Yeah, I'll just put it in split notes. We'll do def. Markdown to blocks. So, or no, markdown to HTML node. So this is our markdown. And it returns an HTML node. Right now, we'll just say returns nothing. Okay. HTML node. And I think this should just be a div, right? That's what they told us. Make all the block nodes children under a single parent HTML node, which should just be a div, and return it. And over here, we need to actually bring this in. So now everyone's failing. Everyone is sad. What's this node to HTML? Throws not implemented. Oh. It should, I guess it shouldn't be an HTML node now, it should be a parent node. Parent node. Return parent. Why is that not? From parent node import. Oh, you know what? I know why this is acting strange. I know why. It's because I haven't actually activated my virtual environment. What the heck? Good morning, Bob. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Long time no see. Let's see, we want to only watch our Python files, and if the Python files change, we want to test. Okay, raise value error. Value error is raised because we don't have any children, so we need to start making. I was gonna say we need to start making children, but that's a whole different kind of content. I'm sad I haven't been waking up early enough to see the Python adventure. Oh, no worries, man. It is early in the morning, so I totally get it. I don't blame you at all. Plus, it's not particularly exciting. Right now, we're building a static site generator. Hopefully, though, before long, we'll be moving on to learning C, which should be pretty fun. Okay, determine the type of block. You already have a function for this. Okay, so let's do. So let's do blocks equals markdown to blocks. Takes in our markdown. Then we'll loop over for block in blocks. And we'll say block type equals block type. Actually, I think it's block to block type. That. Where did we put that? We put that in here. So from block import block to block type. Okay, that's gonna keep failing. Okay. Yes, good old C. That's like the next course in the roadmap, I think. Yes, learn memory management. And then we have to come up with some sort of project to do. I don't know what the criteria is for it. All right. I've been pretty locked in this morning. I haven't even drinking. I haven't drank any of my coffee. I did spend yet most of yesterday building a NeoVim plugin, which is what I've been using to run my tests, which is pretty cool. So it basically allows me to it basically lets me start a running watch exe instance and then pipe that output into this window. The only thing I need to add is it doesn't auto scroll, and it really should auto scroll. Okay, so let's do. I do need more coffee. You're a good man, Cyberlanka. Lack of caffeine is usually the problem. Okay, determine the type of block. So we need to switch on every single block type and make sure that we're creating the right block type. So let's take a look at all the different types we have. So what we want to do is we want to match on block type, and we'll just have a default case that raises an exception that says raise or maybe throw, maybe raise, not throw, raise not implemented, unknown block type, like that. And then we'll go ahead and add a case for each one, paragraph, block type dot paragraph. See, in Rust, we'd have a nice little code action where we could just say, do an exhaustive match, add all the branches. block type dot code case block type dot quote case block type dot ordered list case block type dot unordered list. All right. And then essentially what we want to do is we want to build up that top level parent, right? So, or the top level list of children. So for here, what we'll do is we'll just start very simple and we'll say, you know what, actually, let's see, Python match. Okay, it doesn't support the fall through. So for right now, what we'll do is we'll just return, or we'll just append. So we'll say children dot append node, right? So, well, actually, let's do paragraph node equals child node, which I think we need to import up here from child node, import child node. I thought we had child. Do we not? Did I make that up in my mind? I guess we have text node. So we have text node. Huh. Okay, so I've got to figure a way how to call. We've implemented all these disparate functions, and I've got to figure out which ones I need. So we have parent. Leaf node, that's what it is. So we have a leaf node. The question, though, is what is a leaf node? And how do we use it in our code? It's leader. Let's look at all the references. So it looks like we only really use the leaf node in tests. Oh no, we use it in our text nodes. Okay. So I guess that means all of these actually should be parent. Oh, whoops. What have I done? So I guess this actually should be, I mean, I guess that makes sense because a paragraph node can have other nodes in it. So this would be a paragraph node. Okay, and why are you angry? Argument missing for children. Okay, so where does that take us? Determine the type of block. We've done that. Based on the type block, create a new HTML node with the proper data. Assign the proper child objects to the block node. I created a shared text to children function that works for all block types. It takes a string of text and returns a list of HTML nodes that represent the inline markdown using previously created functions. Think text node to HTML node. The code block is a bit special. It's a bit of a special case. You should not do any inline markdown parsing of its children. I didn't use my text to children function for this block type. I manually made a text node and used text node to HTML node. Okay. Sorry, I lagged out for a second. Hey, what's up, Kyle? Is this blockchain? No, the blocks we're referring to here are blocks in a markdown document. But nice to see you. Hello, Gunheis. Yes, we are using some different music. We are indeed. Also, I guess I could update the what am I doing to be more descriptive, Ilmanian. Let's see, what? Let's do, I am working my way through boot.dev to become an Archmage. Today we are building a static site generator in Python. I guess I'll do what he did. I'll do a separate function. Text, or what do you call it? Children. Text to children. And this is going to return a list of HTML nodes. That. It feels like there's a recursive solution here, probably, actually, to all this. So children equals that. Okay. So theoretically, text what does this do? This takes text to text node, which returns us a list of text node. Then we want to get, okay, so we do text nodes. Then once we have text nodes, we want to get the HTML nodes. So we could say for node in text nodes. And we could do children.append text node to I think that'll work. Make this a little bit clearer. So this is actually going to be text node. I think what makes these courses hard is because you're sort of building up a solution over a sequence of lessons to a problem that somebody's already sat down and sort of analyzed. And so in your head, it's actually kind of difficult to remember how the different pieces of the thing fit into the complete solution. Um, it's always difficult to take someone else's thinking and adopt it as your own a lot of times. So this will be HTML node, right? Which is going to be, whoops, which is going to be that. Then HTML node gets appended here. And the whole point of that is so that you can do this, where you say, okay, this is a paragraph block, and we need to parse the paragraphs in line markdown. So we need to say C equals text to children, where we pass in the block. And then our paragraph node needs to be children equals, I guess I'll just do the verbose naming and just say paragraph children. Like that. And then each one is going to be a similar story. So we'll have, this is heading children. Oh god, that renamed everything. Don't do that. This is interesting. So it doesn't tell us what level of heading. And none of our solutions tell us it says there's only 6 types, but we need to know. We actually need to know what we actually, in order to create the tag, right? So I'm gonna do a quick search. Heading. Interesting. I wonder how they handle that in their solution. Work away, Omanian. Hello, the Laugh Nomad. Man, you changed your profile picture? In between those comments? Did you become an Archmage? I have not. I'm level 60. Level 59. I'm level 59. So I got a little ways to go, but I'm gonna do it, man. I'm not giving up. I gotta get out of writing Python though. That's step number uno. So we know we're block type heading. I guess what I could do is I could say, huh. This has me kind of stumped. What's the right way to solve this? If we know it's a heading, then we could do this. We could say, this is so hacky. Heading number equals 1. No, equals 0. We could say for character in block, or we could say while C now we'll just do this. We'll do for character. This is so hacky. If C is a space, we break. And well, actually, hold on. Just before I do that, let me go back one. Take a peek at these solution files. Yeah, so he only represents heading in his source code at this point. So he had to solve this somehow himself. So I'll just solve it the way I think we should solve it for now. And we'll just increment C. Or sorry, we'll increment heading. If actually, let's just do this. So if C does not equal a hashtag, then we break. Otherwise, we just increment heading number by 1. So eventually we'll get down here. And the reason why we need that is so that we can then say, we now have a heading node, which is H. But it needs to be a formatted, so it'll be H, whatever the heading number is. That's not great, but it is what it is. And then the code is the special case. So in this case, we actually need to say text node equals a new text node, right? And this will be our string, which is going to be our block, and text type, which is going to be code. Then we're going to create our code node equals text node to HTML node. And then children dot append code node, like that. Quote, we're going to go back to what we were doing before. So we'll say quote children equals text to children, passing the block. Okay, this can be lifted up. No, I'm not going to lift that up. We're going to keep that there. This call happens on many cases, so it may actually make sense to move it up here with block type, but I'm going to leave it for now. So this will be quote children. This will be our block node, which will equal parent node, which will be a block quote tag, and then we have our children, which will be quote children, like that. And then our ordered list is kind of interesting because we actually have to make multiple. We have to make a parent node that's the outside tag, and then hey, what's up, Victor? Good to see you. Hello, Cam. Nice to see you. Or I said Cam. Hello, Kale. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are having a good start to your day. Or in Kale's case, I hope you had a good day and it's ending on a good note. Oh, interesting. So code block actually should be pre, right? What does this function do? Yeah, so that actually should be a pre tag. So this should be a parent node, then pre children should just be the list of code. Argument of type list leaf node cannot be assigned to parameter children of type. This is a list of HTML node. No, this is going to be a list of HTML node. So then we append pre-node like that. I think, I don't know, man. Let's see, text of children passing the block node, children dot append block node. I wonder. I guess what I'm having a hard time understanding in some of their implementation is why why have this why have this function where you take in a block and then you essentially parse it or match it just to identify the type. It to me it would make so much more sense to take in the block and parse it into a strongly typed representation of the block. And that would make a lot of the stuff we're doing here, I guess, less of a pain, right? Like imagine instead of having a block type heading, you actually have a heading block, and that heading block identifies if it's a H1, H2, H3, H4, right? Instead of having to do that inline here. I don't know. These are things I'm getting distracted about that I don't like about the existing solution, and I want to change it, but I need to just focus on finishing it. So, um, okay, so we're gonna have a ordered list node, right? Which is going to be a parent node. That's an OL tag. And that's going to have some children, which are going to be equal to the ordered list children variable, which doesn't exist yet. Ordered list children is going to be equal to, I guess, an empty list. Because what we have to do here is we actually have to split the block. So we have to say, I'm going to say ordered list items equals block dot split, and for each line, or for each item, we're gonna do some shit. So for each item, we want to have, so just kind of conceptually thinking, this is what we're trying to build, is we're trying to build something that will look like this, where we have our li tag, right? Li. And then inside here, obviously, we could have other stuff, right? So you could have a strong, an emphasis tag or an italics tag, or whatever tag is in here. So we have to actually do that stuff. So this is where we have to say item children is going to be equal to text to children, where we take in the item, and then item, actually let's do this, item text nodes, which is going to be equal to item HTML nodes, because we're going to convert, we're going to say text node to HTML node. Oh no, we're already doing that. Sorry, we don't. We just need the. So this is item nodes. Yeah, this is what we want. So then we have to create the item. So item. No, that we already have a variable name that. These are item child nodes, which makes this the item node, which is a parent node itself that has an li, and then the children are equal to the item child nodes. And then the last thing we have to do here is we have to say ordered list children dot append the item node. Or so I hope. And then the last thing we have to do here is we have to then append the OL to the top level. None of this is going to work. This is all going to be full of bugs, and I'm going to have to spend a half hour trying to figure out what's gone wrong. But I think this is the right. I think this is right. And then we have to do basically the same thing, but we have to do it for the unordered, right? So the unordered is the same idea. We have ordered. We have unordered, unordered, unordered item. Children nodes, text to children. We get that. We get that. This is UL. UL. Ordered. I'm not a fan that these variables are the same, so I'm going to do these are long variable names, but I want to keep them separate. And I never trust scoping in Python. Unordered. Yeah. Let's actually change this to unordered item. Think. Let's go up here, change these two. So we'll say ordered item, ordered item. I just need to update those. Okay, so we should, at this point, we should have theoretically implemented all of it. And we should be returning a parent div. So now we just need to see why our tests fail. So no module name child node. Okay. Yeah, there is none of that. Okay, we're still getting that same error. Where's that happening at? From split nodes, import something, test split node. Alright, so now it all ran. So now we have to figure out why the shit don't work. I think the easiest thing to do here is going to be to debug this is actually going to be just to write it to a file and compare. So we want test split nodes. Hey, what's up, Rockin' Brain? Hello, Justin. Good to see you. Hi, you are a good programmer, coder, developer, engineer. I don't know if I'm a good one, but I do like to code and program and develop. Yeah, I like to do all that stuff. I don't know if I'm a good one though. Coffee plus code plus coffee plus chat plus clause plus C# plus C plus C C plus plus. No, there's only coffee. There's only code this morning. There's only chat. No C#. No C. No C plus plus. Only Python this morning, unfortunately. That's awesome, Kale. I'm glad you're no longer unemployed long term. All right, let's just go ahead and let's just go ahead and write to a file. Yeah. So let's do I'm actually going to move this up and say, here's our expected. And then I'm going to say, after we get done here, or actually up here, I'm going to say OS with OS. Oh no, not with OS, with open. Output.txt as file. We want to write to it file.write. Let's write the expected. And let's write some new lines. Then let's write the HTML that we actually got. And we'll do a little comparison. I don't think it ran. Oh wow, this is Nipsey Hussle. I'm not sure how that got on there. Whoopsie, sorry. I gotta take that song off there. Let's see. Since when is Steven learning Python? Well, that's the only thing that boot.dev teaches in. So all their like main courses, they only teach it in Python. Or at least they teach the first part of it in Python, and then the second part you can either learn Go or you can learn TypeScript. They have two different paths that you can pick from. Okay, whoops, sorry for the Nipsey Hussle language. I know some people are offended by music like that, so apologies. Okay, why is that not? Why is that not running? Oh, because we're encountering an error before we get there. So what is this? This is test paragraph, and this is being raised on line 27, and specifically value error. So why are we getting that? Parent node, if children is none or length of children is none equals 0. So where would that happen up here? Let's print the blocks that we have. Okay, so somehow it looks like we're getting an empty thing trend. Isn't there a... I thought there was a way when you split, remove empties. Okay, we'll just do a little if on empty. Oops. Equals block for block in trend if block does not equal this. See if that blows up all my tests. Okay, now we're not getting that same value error, which is what we were seeing earlier. And now we should have, yeah, output. So let's look at output. All right, so this is close, I think, right? I'm just seeing some new lines where there shouldn't be new lines, but I think otherwise we're getting the tags everywhere that we should. But we're for whatever reason we're introducing new lines somewhere. I don't know where those are coming from, but they are there somehow. Well, that's good. We haven't completely screwed anything up. Now, where would the new lines be coming from? If I had to guess, I guess I shouldn't guess. That's probably first thing first. So let's go over here. Let's pull up the output on this thing. Hello, Raul. Bro, what are you developing? We're working on a we're doing boot.dev, which is like it's like a gamified learning experience, kind of an RPG like learning experience. And right now we're doing a course where we have to build a static site generator is what we're building. It's been pretty fun. Yeah, it's been pretty fun. I don't think I would have quite built it the way we built it here. I think there's some things I would have done differently. But it's been good. Definitely written a lot more Python in the last week and a half or so than I normally would write. So I think that's a plus, you know, anytime you get exposure to new stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at the paragraph because that seems to be where it's going wrong. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to print the children. So I'm going to print children once we are at the very end of this. And I'm also going to go back to the tests. And I'm going to remove this print statement. So I'm going to say this is the children you got. And let's go ahead and run that. And let's see what we're looking at for children. So where are we? It's kind of hard to see, but we should be right here. Let's copy this real quick. Oh, actually, we should probably use my own notepad. Okay, so here's all the nodes we're getting. This has a bunch of child nodes. Okay, so it definitely looks like there's two new lines here. So it's something to do with the logic in the paragraph. Leaf node paragraph. So let's go in here. Specifically, let's look at this. Text to children. Somehow we're getting, I think, parent node split node. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I want parent node out. Nope, I want split nodes. Alright, let's stop printing that. Let's hone in on the paragraph results. Let's print paragraph children. So this is another paragraph with leaf code. I'm trying to hold multiple things in my head at the same time. And that's not working very well. So this is the text that I'm producing. So that's the text I'm producing. So when we're looking at the corresponding nodes here, this is bolded paragraph. Okay, so let's loop over the children. Yeah, let's loop over for C in paragraph children, and let's print C. Oops, there's another one. This is bolded paragraph, and then see there's a new line here, and there's a new line here. So where are those coming from my test, maybe? This is bolded paragraph text in a P tag here. Yeah, okay, so that's how the tests are formatted. Okay, but it doesn't, it expects the new lines not to be there? Interesting. Okay, so did I miss something? When I was implementing this text to, not text to children, text to text node, I guess, or text node to HTML node. All right, let's look at text to text node. Where did he put his? There you go, text to HTML node. Nope, he's just dumping it in there. Huh. So how's he coming out? Inline markdown. I mean, technically, right, new lines in HTML do get treated as single white spaces, right? So that's, I mean, theoretically, that could be a fix we make. We just replace I think it means somewhere we're not splitting correctly, is what I think it means. Let's go here. Text node to HTML node. So where do we get the text nodes? We get the text nodes here. So we're splitting on the delimiter here. So our input, I'm just talking out loud now. I'm just kind of rubberducking this. So our input has new lines, right? But when this gets translated into HTML, we expect those new lines not to be there. So when we pass our text in, this is going to be a block right here. So when we pass this block to text nodes, we get some weird stuff out. I'm wondering, should this be splitting? Yeah? Maybe that's where we've gone wrong. Let's try that. Yeah? Let's try that. So let's do old nodes equals just an empty list to start with. And then let's do text or for line in text.split lines. And we'll just say old nodes.append text node. I don't think this is in their solution at all, but let's just see what happens. Just curious. Okay, let's look at the output and see how that changed. All right, so it looks like now our output is what we'd expect. Let's look at it in here. Okay, it's almost what we'd expect. I think we're off. Yeah, see, now we're off. But, yeah, see, this has all been condensed. So that's not the right answer. Somewhere I've gone wrong. And I don't know where. I don't know where I've gone wrong. Okay, that's text. No, I'm looking for text to text node. Is what I'm looking for. There you go. Text to text node. So that looks just like my function. Yep. So they're preserving that. Who calls this? I wish it would just expand all of them. Okay, I don't think the answer is here, Stephen. Let's stop looking. Let's stop looking where the answer is not. Okay, let's look. Oh, he literally says, I removed the new lines and replaced them with spaces. Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Smarty Pants. I was thinking that that was a little bit too hacky, but uh, apparently not. So, where am I? Split notes. There you go. So right here, we can move this out, take this out. And so he's basically saying um, he is replacing, I'm going to call this no new lines. And so block dot replace, and we are, what is it? We're going to say the old is going to be os dot line set, and we want to replace that with just empty space. So that's what's going to get fed in there. All right, now let's take a look at. Okay, we passed the first test. Yay! Looks great. So now we need to figure out why we're failing the second. So let's go ahead and just follow the same very crappy debug process we have here. So we're just going to move this down one test. And then we're going to move the expected up here. Paste that. Give ourselves a variable. Expect, have I not named that correctly? Expected. There we go. And then we come down here and we actually say expected. So then we'll come back over here, we'll run test sh. We'll count the output. And what do we got going on here? So, pre-code, this is text that should remain the same even with inline stuff. So basically new lines have been replaced as well as or did he? It looks like they kept. Okay, so we need to remove this and the new line here and the trailing backticks. Going back to our code. Where's our code? Up here. So, replace backticks. Let's see. Let's do remove leading backticks. And Python replace front or Python trim start. Is there a trim start? Pass a string of characters to lstrip to remove any of them from the start until a non-matching character. Okay, so we should do block.lstrip. I'm guessing there's a right strip. Okay, so we'll do left strip. This can be removed. Some silly variable name. So we'll do block.leftStrip. And left strip will be these. And then right strip will be this. I think. Hey, it passed. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Now that's definitely not a comprehensive set of tests. We would still need to add tests for the code block, the paragraph, or sorry, we have tests for code block and paragraph, but we'd have to add tests for heading, quotes, ordered lists, and unordered lists. And we probably want one in there for the not implemented case. Cool. I've only earned 600 XP this morning. That's crazy. See, this is the one knock right now I have against boot.dev is technically I can submit this and it will pass, but I don't have a comprehensive test suite in place. So really, it's really not a complete implementation, but you can sort of fake it. Basically, if you put test sh and make that script always exit with 0, regardless of what it does, you always pass. So it's a little hacky. Like somebody could actually kind of speed run this a little. Okay, looks like now we're gonna get into copying the static files. I'm gonna go back and add the test for the other blocks here. Um, but I'm gonna do that later. I'm done streaming for today. All right, I hope you guys had a good morning. I had a good morning. I'm signing off. Have a great Tuesday. What is it? Tuesday? Yeah, have a great Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Sayonara. Bye. Man, I look really red. Why does my camera make me look like a Oompa Loompa? Anyways, bye guys. Have a good day.